This is Eagle Owl, and today we're gonna talk about Moro Ojomo. Is his hype real? Also, we gotta talk about Malaki starts. That's the guy everybody want. And lastly, will the Eagles actually pull the trigger and get Mason Taylor at 32? But let's get straight into it. All right, before we hop straight into the meat and potatoes and the main topic, I want to talk about a guy we brought in for a visit, more of a day three guy out of Penn State, and that's Kobe King. Kobe King, linebacker. To me, he's the traditional linebacker. Thumper, hit hard, stop the run, can go rush the passer. But as those traditional linebackers, what they always struggle in, coverage. See, we need a guy that can cover. To me, he reminds me of N'Kobe Dean, like a slightly underdeveloped N'Kobe Dean. When I was watching the tape, I was watching the good, I was watching the bad. Again, it's the coverage. Now, if he had coverage skills, we talk about a guy that could have won second, third round. But today's game, you look at like Saquon can go out, catch a few passes, or you look at like a Jameer Gibbs with the Detroit Lions. So today's running backs, they can actually damn near play receiver. So you want that type of linebacker. Again, like a N'Kobe Dean. N'Kobe Dean developed as a coverage guy later in the season, but it took him time and he really struggled in coverage, and that was our weak point. Now you can bring him in. He's not an immediate starter, but he can develop. And I mean, he's probably developing behind Trotter Jr. because Trotter Jr. should be ready. I mean, once N'Kobe Dean come back, I'm assuming he's going to take that spot. Then Trotter Jr. goes back on the bench. So this is a guy, if you bring him in, he's developing for a couple years. He's a special team age. And then eventually he might get his opportunity. Zach Bond got 2 more years. I'm not sure if we're gonna resign to Kobe Dean. So this will be a guy developing in the background. If we decide to get him like later, or we trade back for like a 6th round, or use one of our 5th round picks or whatever. But Kobe King is an interesting name for sure. But as a developmental piece, he doesn't come in and make noise right then and there. This is a developmental guy. But let's talk about a guy that's not a developmental guy, a guy that will come in and make things happen. That's Mason Taylor. Mason Taylor, I think, is a little ridiculous at 32, but Ty McShay is hinting to that. And let me play this clip.
Eamon Warrior's my only player in the top 32 that we didn't draft.
Okay.
I do think with the Eagles, keep an eye on the Dallas Goedert situation. I could see Mason Taylor.
Ooh, he's my
right
tight end 3. We talked about him this week. Yeah.
I think Mason Taylor could be interesting there.
Not a dissimilar skill set.
See, that's crazy. Even if we decide to trade Dallas Goedert, Mason Taylor at 32, who's projected to go 3rd round, is insane. Now, we did see crazy things. Like when you look at Detroit Lions, when they drafted like Gibbs, Sam Laporta, and there was a couple other guys, but they was drafting them really, really early. Like nobody wanted Gibbs in the top, 15-ish. Nobody wanted Sam Laporta that early. Now they turned out to be really great draft picks, but you didn't have to really pull the trigger that early. The Eagles not that type of team. We're not going to pull the trigger on a tight end that early. That's insane. I will be shocked. I will be shocked if we did that. Hell, we got a better chance of trading back. Now, I looked at Mason Taylor. I tried to see what's the hype about him because, as you guys know, I've been on the Gunner Hemp train because he reminds me more of Dallas Goedert than the rest of these guys like Harold Fannin Jr., not really a blocker. It's more of a catching tight end per se. And so is Mason Taylor. Now, Mason Taylor, when I watch him, he give me more of a Zach Ertz feeling than a Dallas Goedert. Now, he get yards after the catch, but I don't know. It's just something about him that reminds me of Zach Ertz. I thought I was tripping. And what do you know? I find a tape of Baldy breaking down his game. He say, Zach Ertz. So let me play that clip.
Let's take a look at Mason Taylor here from LSU. A 3-year player for him. Averages about 10 yards a catch for 3 straight years in a row. From Jaden Daniels right here. You can see he could be the replacement for Zach Ertz in Washington. Kind of reminds you of him. You watch him right here, and just this deep over route. All right? runs well, catches well, all right, stays on his feet after the catch. He's your basic move, flex, tight end, all right? Beats the cover two trap with his hands, catches everything with his hands, and then good after the catch. Athletic. Runs good. You could just put him over here in motion, all right, move him around, all right, little basic drag routes. They run every route with him. Drag routes, delays, dumps, you name it. He ran the whole tight end route tree. Here he is now. Like very smooth and fluid on the move. All right, just this over route right here in traffic, catches everything. Everything with his hands. All right, here he is. Aggressive hands with the ball in the air. All right, the over route right now, all tight ends got to be able to master that. And then when things break down, can you uncover? Can you get back to the quarterback like he is to Nussmeier here? Get into the vision of right here. He sees it. Now let's circle back. Let's find the opening, catch it on the sideline. And of course, this catch against Alabama just shows you his length, his reach, how fluid and smooth he is. Great prospect.
Guy don't drop balls. He's really reliable in the pass game. Needs some work in the blocking game, like most of these tight ends today. So I would like Mason Taylor. It just, I don't know. I think we need more of a blocking tight end, especially if we're gonna try to get Dotson more involved this year, because you got the three receivers. You got the three receivers. We don't really need a receiving tight end. Hell, I think is a receiving tight end on our roster. And that's Grant Calcaterra. So I won't be mad at Mason Taylor, but again, you ask me, my guy's still gonna hemp. Right, so let's get into another drafty. Let's talk about him. And this is the guy we all been waiting for, right? This is the guy you guys want. And that's Malaki Starks. Malaki Starks, Georgia Bulldog, 6'1", 200 plus pounds. He can do everything. Zone, put him in the slot, which he could struggle a little bit, but he's not really a slot cornerback. But he does it really well for a safety, man to man, whatever you want. Ball hawk. But the question is, will he be there at 32? Now you've seen safeties drop from time to time. Will the Eagles pull the trigger on this? Did the meeting go right? I wouldn't be surprised. He's a bulldog. Eagles been loving them Bulldogs, man. So I wouldn't be surprised. I just hate it for Sidney Brown, my opinion, because that means Sidney Brown's just gonna be the special teams ace. Then once his time come up, he probably go somewhere and watch he gonna do his thing. But I wouldn't be mad at Malaki Starks. Malaki Starks is one of those ones. If he's there, you gotta go get him. Do the Eagles trade up for him? Because he's going in the 20-ish. It's going in the 20s and maybe even go earlier than that because I've been seeing a lot of Dolphins fans want him. And Dolphins is like in the teens, if I'm not mistaken. So, again, will he be there for the Philadelphia Eagles? I don't know. But I was looking up a couple things about his game on TikTok. And let this guy break down Malaki Starks.
Malaki Starks is the best safety in this draft class. How many NFL guys can make a play like this? Not that many. Starks is a safety out of Georgia, 6'1", 197. He tested at the combine, ran a 4.5 40 and a 1.51 10-yard split, which is really impressive. Malaki Starks is so good in zone coverage deep, and that's what makes him the best safety in this class. Other guys like Nicky Minwari, who are athletic freaks, are not this good in zone coverage. His ability to come from across the field, really good at the catch point, knocking out. Something a lot of people agree on with Malaki Starks is his tape was better in 2023 than 2024. And while I'm not going to disagree with that, it's because of his role. He played so much more in the box, more in the slot, and it's harder to make plays on the ball when your eyes aren't on the quarterback. At the deep safety spot, I love his route recognition. You're going to see here, they're going to throw a post at him, and they're going to throw some bait underneath. He doesn't take the bait underneath. He runs with the deep route. And that is obviously your job as a safety, is to make sure nothing over the top happens. But when you really watch his down-to-down reps, it's just a lot of slot corner. And he wasn't bad at it, but he wasn't as good as somebody like Jahdae Barron was. So I think with Starks, you're really going to want to play him as a deep safety with that slot flexibility. You can see on PFF, he played 400 snaps deep this year, but he played over 500 snaps that weren't deep this year. Just an instinctually smart player who can recognize routes. He doesn't fall for this at all. He's right at the catch point. The way he was used the most at Georgia is when he's at deep safety and then he kind of drops into the middle of the field, and you'll see him come up and make some nice tackles, better than Nicky Minwori was at filling those tackle lanes as a safety. It was truly bizarre the way Georgia was using him. I mean, they used this man like Superman. He's supposed to guard man coverage coming off of a motion as a safety. I mean, like, how are you supposed to guard that? It's just impossible. Malaki Starks isn't an unbelievable athlete, and the stats aren't necessarily amazing either this year, but when you watch the tape and you watch the player, you watch how fluent he moves, you watch how he racks in zone coverage, I have him as a first-round talent. Honestly, a mid-first-round talent. I think he slips just because he's a safety and just because of Nicky Minwori.
See, I be trying to get the experts to break it down better than me. So look, he's everything. He really is. And I get the hype. He comes in, he's a day one starter for sure. I get it. But I just think we got the guy on the roster. Y'all not giving him a chance. Y'all just not giving him a chance. So hey, I won't be mad at it. But let's go over the last topic, last certainly not least, Moro Ojomo. It's the Moro Ojomo hype reel. What made me bring this up? Because Brandon Graham was on Jason Kelsey podcast and he brought it up, and let me play this clip.
That's somebody who had his locker right next to me the whole time, all the way until he was done. So seeing someone else, and Moro Ojomo is a guy that I really respect, man. I think he's gonna be a guy this year that's gonna have a big year too. Again, because it's a lot of guys on that bench already that I feel is gonna add value to the team this year, especially with Milt going.
Is the hype real? I hope so. Moro Ojomo, one of the few guys that shouted me out that's actually on the Philadelphia Eagles team. He can ball out for sure. He's the reason why it was easy to replace Milton Williams. And I remember over the summer, even Milton Williams saying like Moro Ojomo's going to have that type of year. But let me just play this clip.
Other than me, nah. One guy on the team that have a big season. Moro.
Okay, why's that?
Moro Ojomo. He bring it. He know what he finally he gonna get the opportunity. And he ready. He ready. He working hard every day, asking questions in meetings. No, he in tune. He gonna be ready.
See, this was back in August of 2024 during training camp or whatever. So Moro Ojomo, the hype been there. He's been playing at a high level, especially with his limited snaps. We're gonna see what he do with a boatload of snaps. But if Brandon Graham saying that, Milton Williams, who was on the team at one point, saying that he might be that guy. He definitely might be that guy. And when you look at Moro Ojomo, he was a 7th round pick, so his contract gonna come up soon. So it's gonna be like, what do we do with Moro Ojomo? Hopefully, he had that type of year so he could get paid. Do he take a team friendly deal? We don't know. So yeah, the Moro Ojomo hype might be real. This is just a wait and see thing. This is a wait and see thing. I've been on Moro Ojomo since he got drafted. I'm like, yo, he's that 7th round pick. You're gonna look at later in the future, he's a steal. He's a steal. A lot of people just seen him as, oh, he's a run stopper. No, he ain't. He could stop the run for sure. But he could go get that quarterback too. But that's all I got for you guys today. Hey man, what do you think and how do you feel? Moro Ojomo hype. Talked about a couple draftees. No AJ Brown in this video. I've been talking about AJ Brown a lot. And no AJ Brown in this video. But this is Eagle Al, man. I'm out.